Hello, everybody. Good morning. It's Dave Neal, stand-up comic and host of Bachelor Nation News. When I tell you you're about to listen to a crazy story, you better believe I am not clickbaiting you right now. My advice, clear your calendar, push off the meetings, tell the babysitter they need to stay an extra hour, and listen up. Now, I'm not going to share with you the full podcast episode of what we just listened to privately on the Patreon, patreon.com/Dave Neal. But I'm going to share probably 10 different clips with you. This is Alana Noel, a former producer of The Bachelor. I've been on her podcast, actually had a really good time. I really enjoy Alana Noel's storytelling. I think she's extremely funny. I think she's telling the truth. I don't see a reason why she isn't with what I'm about to share. She's going to do a producer tells all of her time working on The Bachelor, and I believe Bachelor in Paradise or Bachelorette, one of the two. Her ex-boyfriend was a producer who also was a producer of Serene's and a really good friend of Brandon's. So this isn't a story of somebody who's not connected to, this is somebody who was close friends with Brandon and Serene. Now, does the story completely vindicate Brandon? No, she'll be critical of Brandon as well, but she's also extremely critical of Serene, and we're just going to listen to what she has to say. She posted this publicly. I'm not sure if the subreddits are going to share this, but I think it's only fair when a former producer of a show who's got a show here called Recipe for Crazy, you might say, well, she's crazy. She's got a show called Recipe for Crazy. You know, a lot of times the crazy people are the ones speaking the truth, right? So Alana, I'm not going to share all of it. I encourage you, go listen to the full episode. It's 90 minutes. I'm going to pick up right at the 33rd minute mark and begin to listen to what she has to say and how Alana sets the table for what went down. And by the way, Alana, her podcast isn't monetized. She's not seemingly in this to get a big following. I'll just read what she had to say. With hindsight and a somewhat level head, Alana reopens the wounds of her last relationship as she reveals what really went down between her ex-boyfriend and America's favorite Bachelor in Paradise couple following Brandon Jones' recent interview on Clayton Echard's podcast, Beyond the Cover. Brace yourselves. All right, let's just play the clips.
Recorded, there are ulterior motivations, whatever they may be. So why should a man who already is predisposed to a very enlarged ego, why should they be discussing their feelings and emotions on an open platform? I think they need to be doing the work in silence. All that to say, I do think Brandon Jones has every right to discuss his relationship with Serene. He was on The Bachelorette. He consented to allowing a audience to watch his personal relationship, and why can't he continue to talk about it?
So yeah, I completely agree. He's allowed to share his story, and of course, he should be doing the work privately. You know, being interviewed by Clayton Echard shouldn't be a sort of a pass for not needing therapy. With that said, Brandon did say he has received a good amount of therapy. So now we hear, and again, I'm piecemealing this, so go listen to the full thing. But now we're going to hear the moments where Alana's ex-boyfriend, the producer, became friends with Brandon.
Questioned his sanity, if anything, not his truthfulness. I never questioned that. So Brandon and Kooks,
her ex,
became fast friends. They were like brothers. Now, when you are a producer on this show, you are being paid to essentially be friends with these people. And that's not just this show. That's any reality show. When you are a producer that is interacting with the cast members, it is your responsibility and it is your job to become very close to them so you can guide them into making decisions on the show. You have an emotional relationship with these people. It is also your responsibility to communicate with the show about what these people are feeling and to guide them in a direction that's that's mostly beneficial for the show. And that's any show.
Now, Alana, by all means, has a good resume. She was on one of the Keeping Up with the Kardashians spinoff. I think they asked her to stick around, but she didn't want to move to whatever city, maybe Miami. I'm not really sure. So she's not just some random person with a random story here. She's got quite a little resume for the work she's put in. Her boyfriend, she goes into discussing life with her boyfriend. They had to try to keep it quiet in the show. Didn't want them to be together, and she didn't really know why at the time. Now, of course, she mentions he relapsed with, I believe, like a crack addiction or something like that, something very heavy. So, he's got his own issues. She's finding out she's codependent, but also they're both sharing their work tea as they also both produce different contestants on the show. So Serene was on Clayton Echard's season. Alana was the producer for Susie, but you're working tangentially with all these people.
Time he reached out to me was shortly after my breakup with my ex-boyfriend. I think he might have sent me a DM asking how I'm doing.
Brandon.
I never responded.
This is Brandon.
After the breakup, I just didn't want to talk to anyone from Bachelor Nation. I wanted to completely separate myself from everybody. I felt extremely betrayed, wronged. I didn't know who to trust. So of course I'm not going to talk to him. And at that point, that was around June, I still didn't even know what I know now. So I will tell you that Brandon and I have since spoke, and he sounds exactly like the guy I first met on Michelle Young's season.
All right, so she describes Brandon as being like a shell of himself when he was with Serene, which, by the way, hey, we've all been in bad relationships, so that's not to indict one person versus the other. For all you know, she could have been a shell of herself. But, this is just helpful to paint a picture as to how close Alana Noel actually was to these folks.
That was my first indication. But, a lot of people were into him. You would think the girls that this guy has pulled and had wrapped around his finger, that this guy was fucking George Clooney.
She's talking about her ex and all of the women on the season that were into him.
Even Bradley Cooper. You'd think he's Bradley Cooper. No, he's literally not. He literally has a high-pitched voice and an average-sized penis. Whoa. It is the most ridiculous thing. However, he is 6'4". So I guess people are into that. And he is very charismatic. It's ridiculous. Listen, I know why I was behind the camera, okay? I'm a 6, okay? On a good day. These are very gorgeous women who are going after this dude.
Alana Noel is not a 6. Alana's very beautiful. Come on now.
Makes no sense. Obviously, also, you're confined in a house with 30 women. I mean, I think like a fucking stale potato chip looks hot when you're in this environment.
True.
So I don't know who's to say. But anyways, I knew she liked him. Knew she had a thing for him. Like I said, a lot of girls did. Wasn't a big deal. I remember hearing things here and there.
So Brandon brought up Alana Noel on his interview with Clayton Echard, and this is kind of Alana's side of that story if you're trying to catch up here. Alana's now saying she knew Serene was into her boyfriend. She will share receipts in a little bit, so this isn't just women's intuition. There's receipts.
Oh, Serene has a crush on this producer. Whatever. It comes with the territory. We start traveling. Serene has another producer. A producer who I honestly was not the biggest fan of. Didn't really like her. Wasn't my friend, per se. Okay? We had our own issues behind the scenes going on. This individual was very protective of her relationship with Serene because obviously she saw the longevity of her on the show and took special interest in making sure that their relationship was close and tight so she wouldn't lose her. So we get to Austria. I've told this story before. I'm going to tell it again. We're in Austria. This man is an addict. I have discussed this. He entered Clayton season sober. While at the mansion at some point, he had a relapse. Now, when traveling, it is very difficult to travel with the drug that he took a special liking to. So when we go on the road, he ditches the drug, he gets sick and has withdrawals. So during that time, I'm covering for him. I'm trying to do my job. I'm trying to hide the fact that I have this relationship with this individual. There's all these things occurring. We get to Austria. By the time we're there, he's finally feeling like a person again. He's able to do his job again. And I am with Susie at this point,
Evans,
who ended up, I guess, quote unquote, winning the season and being in a relationship with Clayton. I'm with her. I'm on a date with her as her producer, not romantically. God, you're disgusting. And at the end of the night, he and I are alone together. He tells me, while you were gone, Serene and Genevieve pulled me into their hotel room. They were drunk and they flashed me their tits.
Whoa.
As a critical thinking individual, why do I keep saying
all right, so then she says she grilled him and she made him describe the whole thing and that she actually believes him. She doesn't know why he would lie. They'll end up denying this, but yeah, this is this is wild. So again, he's an addict. If you're Serene, you could say, listen, he's a junkie. What the hell does he know? You know, you could throw that away, but at this point, it's really just a he said, she said.
My boyfriend comes into the hotel room and says to me, oh my God, you're never going to believe this. You can't tell anyone this is happening. I was like, what the fuck's going on? One of the benefits of dating somebody that you work with is you get a little extra tea. It's really fun, especially when people don't know you're together. You really hear about things. So he tells me, I think I'm going to Serene's hometown. I was like, what are you talking about? How? This girl is her producer. Why are you going to her hometown? He's like, well, this is what happened. So Serene tells a handler and a producer she's not comfortable with this producer that has been working with her. She makes her uncomfortable. She doesn't like her. Whatever she said. She says things about this producer to them, which gets this producer dismissed from the show, from the rest of the season. And my immediate reaction was, wow. So it was Serene who finally did it, who got rid of this woman, because I didn't like her. So initially I was thankful for the bitch.
And then she ends up realizing that now this means her boyfriend's going to be going to the hometown with Serene. So who knows if that's true that Serene got her fired, but for sure suspect to say the least. So I'm going to go to the 53:45 mark here. And again, like I said before, at this point, you should just pause my video and go listen to the full thing and do with it what you want. You know what I mean? Do with it what you want. But for anyone who might have an issue with this being shared, this is a public podcast. This is somebody sharing their quote unquote truth from behind the scenes. If you ever think that The Bachelor is boring, well, Alana Noel is making it very much interesting at this point. She now shares a moment with our good pal Shanae. Remember Shanae? Remember when Shanae was having beef with some people? Well, now we've got what went down with Shanae vetting a story about Genevieve and Serene.
Of Clayton's season. Shanae was one of my girls from that season. And obviously Shanae and Genevieve had controversy. Shanae got on stage and said, when I got home from the show, I was sad. When you got home, you fucked Aaron Clancy from Katie's season. So the truth behind that
which, by the way, you're allowed to do. You're single at this point. You're allowed to go bang somebody.
Story is, prior to Shanae getting on the stage, she was hesitant to say that. She wanted confirmation before she went on there that really did happen. We were all under the belief that they hooked up, and we knew the exact date it happened because Genevieve posted stories with him, and it happened to be the night before my birthday. So I said to Kooks, hey, can you confirm with Shanae that this happened, because she just wants to make sure it's true before she goes up on stage and says that. He was like, no problem. I need to talk to Aaron first and just give him a heads up that this is happening. As far as I knew at that point, and as far as I knew up until August 12th, that did happen. That it was Aaron and Genevieve hooking up, and which was further confirmed on Bachelor in Paradise when they did on the show, in fact, have a relationship with each other.
True.
There was no reason for me to believe, other than the fact that Genevieve was very texty with him, that did happen, that it was Aaron. Come to find out, no, it wasn't Aaron who fucked Genevieve the night of my birthday. It was actually my boyfriend.
Holy hell. So now Alana, according to her, finds out that Genevieve wasn't banging Aaron. She was banging her boyfriend. Again, this is parallel to the Serene story. This is just additional tea for you to consume on here.
And he kicked her out right before I got there for him to take me out for my birthday.
Whoa.
Cool. Anyways, continuing. God.
Don't you love it when the throwaway side story should be its own crazy video? Absolutely insanity. 57:15. Let's keep going here. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff.
let me remind you, prior to starting that show, Brandon comes and spends the night at my boyfriend's parents' house. Everything's hunky-dory. Now, as we're getting closer to the show, it's becoming apparent that Brandon is very interested in Serene. What is not apparent on the show, and what I know to be true, is that prior to starting Bachelor in Paradise, Brandon and Serene already had a relationship. They were already seeing each other in person. Now, this is not something that the show knows. This is something I know as a friend. This is where the lines start getting blurred.
Whoa.
And this is where it's very confusing.
Blurred lines, folks. We need to get Robin Thicke in here. Remember Robin Thicke with his blur? Okay.
And very
Blurred
hard,
lines.
and where it became very challenging to do our jobs. My boyfriend had a very close relationship with Brandon Jones that exceeded the typical one that you would have with a contestant. They were actual friends. They were best friends. And Serene liked my boyfriend, very much so, to the point that it was inappropriate. Now, the conversations that my boyfriend and I were having behind the scenes that were separate from the show, that were more on the grounds of like being a ethical and moral individual and a friend, was, how are you going to encourage this friend of yours to start a relationship with this girl who likes you? It's kind of weird. My boyfriend never disclosed those things to Brandon, obviously, for obvious fucking reasons.
And I get that. If a girl had a crush on me and I wasn't into her, I wouldn't tell my buddy who's into that girl. You know what I mean? It's just be like, but no, if there's more to the story, then...
So many levels and degrees to this story that supersede anything that has to do with the show. This has nothing to do with the show, because the show has no idea this stuff is going on. So we go into the show. Obviously, Brandon's a piece of shit on the show, treating us with so much disrespect. Everyone, Serene, right behind him. They're in their own fucking world the entire time.
This is new information that Brandon was treating them poorly.
I have to say that I really don't believe Brandon Jones to be a love bomber. I think a lot of people's perception when watching the show is like, wow, he really just like love bombed the fuck out of Serene. No, they already had a relationship before the show. I don't think he's a love bomber, because a love bomber is a person who...
All right, so she says, look, it was because we watched the show going, how is he this into her already? And Alana basically says, well, it's because they were already dating. So, I think Alana does a really good job of being critical of both people here. You might not hear her being that critical of Brandon yet, but just stick around. She'll give him his own, and she's going to comment on the quote unquote tapes that might exist out there that he doesn't want being seen. So and by the way, I think Alana does a really good job. I think she's got a really good thing on her hands. I mean this. I've seen multi-millionaire podcasters that couldn't handle the conversation like this. It's just absolutely wild. Alana's somebody who said she always wanted to be a filmmaker, and I think she does a really good job sort of teasing parts of the story and formulating it. I know not everyone might believe that. It's really hard for me to recap this because it is a long episode, but I'm just going like, dang, if she became like a weekly sort of, I know you can't dish. I know this is like the type of tea that you don't just dish every week, but I think she does a good job of jazzing up these stories.
Everybody knew we were, all those things were happening. After the show, after Serene and Brandon are public with the world that they're together, all, whatever. I think it was December of 2022. We invited them to come over and hang out. They were living in San Diego. They come over to our home, and I'm just gonna try to put myself back in this situation. I had just went to a wedding. When I was gone that weekend, my boyfriend relapsed. So he was high off his fucking ass when these people came over. We're sitting in the living room. I'm sitting there. He's sitting next to me. Brandon and Serene are sitting across from us. And I'm looking at Serene, and her eyes are dead centered on my boyfriend, to the point where it was very uncomfortable. I was like, you really aren't even trying to pretend what your interests are.
So at this point, now we get into, I guess, the gray area. Because before it's like, look, if Serene had a thing with your boyfriend if Serene flashed your boyfriend while she was on Clayton's season, that's like, whatever. You know what I mean? That doesn't involve Brandon. But now we're starting to see Alana's timeline of what does involve Brandon. And, you know, what might just be basic human, women's intuition going, oh, I could tell there was something there, will turn into her finding receipts of that
ritual we did. We'd get all comfed up. We would put pouches in our mouth, and then we'd like hold each other like our lives depended on it. So I said this story.
So she tells a story about about how she ate these specific nicotine patches with her boyfriend.
And she says, you know, I tried one in like kind of like a similar kind of sense. You know, I was like laying on the bed and someone gave me one, and then she like stops herself like, ooh. But the way she said it, it was like calculated. Once again, it was like she knew what she was doing. It was like she was trying to like incite a fight between my boyfriend and I. Like she dropped this little nugget and then took it back.
So Alana believes that maybe she had something with Alana's boyfriend while filming the hometowns. Again, none of that I think is ever substantiated. I mean, she's allowed to have these thoughts and opinions, considering she now knows her boyfriend at the time had cheated on her with whoever the other person is. I'm forgetting names here. So yeah, this is just absolutely insanity. Let's jump to the 120, the hour and 10 mark.
Real. Because there's a lot of breakups back togethers of this whole thing. But when we for real break up and I kick him out, I say to him, I don't give a fuck what you do. You could go bang a bunch of Victoria's Secret models. I'm happy for you. Do not have sex with anyone from the show. That is embarrassing for me. He told me he wouldn't. What does he do the very next day? Hit up Genevieve and Serene and other people who it doesn't matter. I also want to say that when we were very good in our relationship and when we were saying we love each other and everything was like really blossoming, I remember saying to him very specifically, listen, I had a lot of suspicion when you and I were first dating about your relationship with Genevieve and Serene. Now is the time to tell me. Please tell me now. Did anything happen? Mind you, this man trusts me more than anything because of all the secrets I fucking kept for him and covering for him on our show where he's doing drugs, not just by himself, but with other contestants, doing a lot of fucked up shit. And I always covered for his ass. The trust we had with each other during that time was insane. So when he denied it to me and he knew, and I told him I would never reveal it to a soul. I just want to know for myself, did anything happen? I already forgive you if it did. We were dating. It was just starting. If you did it, you did it. Just tell me. He denied it all the way through and through. Looked me dead in the fucking eye. I love you. I want to be with you the rest of my life. I would tell you. I trust you more than anybody alive. I would tell you. I believed him. Why would he lie at that point? He did. He did. Oh boy, did he lie. So, okay. Keeping that in mind, when I say this to him, in my mind, he's never hooked up with anyone from the show. Obviously, we know that people like him and that if he wanted to do that, he could. So, come to find out later, literally the next day, he hits these people up. So, months go by.
And by the way, hitting people up doesn't mean that he banged them, but that's, I guess, something we'll never know. But we will get into the part where she shares some receipts. A lot of this is just context leading up to what we heard on Clayton's episode for why Brandon, I guess, felt so heartbroken and why he's felt like, because a lot of people are wondering, is Brandon trying to just throw Serene under the bus so people don't hate him? I don't think that's the case. I think he's just no longer really caring about whatever collateral damage comes to her, and he just wants the truth out there.
That my ex-boyfriend, Kooks, lied about a lot of things that occurred in the early stages of our relationship. And as a producer, an investigator, and just a generally curious individual, I, of course, took it upon myself to do my own research. Let me get the facts here. And I did get the facts. There was a communal iPad in the home where I had the password, and it was linked to his iCloud and his iMessages. And I went through there, and you bet your bottom dollar that I read every single fucking text, bitch. I read every single text. I saw everything he was doing. Back to Serene and Brandon, which is what this is really about. Because I want to be specific, because if I'm not specific, we'll be here for fucking 2 days, 48-hour podcast. And
we're okay with that. Give us the 48 hours.
I'm not going to do that. So specifically with Serene, I read every single text message between them after our relationship.
Okay, so by the way, I'm actually getting some more information from Alana, because I do have a few questions that are yet to be answered. So you're going to kill me right now. But as we make this video, I'm going to share any updates I get on the Afternoon Rush Hour podcast. So take a second, pause this, and just screen grab this right here, or take a photo with your phone, or just search Dave Neal for the Rush Hour podcast, because I'm still not sure if she thinks Serene 100% cheated or if it was just emotional cheating. I'm going to get those updates for you, but in the meantime, we'll just let this, full recap play out.
And within those text messages that I still have copies of, text messages that I have sent to Brandon Jones. Did I send him every single one I have? Absolutely not. You always got to keep a few, tricks up your sleeve. And I always do, sweetie. Within these text messages, she says...
And by the way, this is whenever there's a guy two-timing the ladies and the ladies start sharing screen grabs, that's when you're always in trouble. When there's a guy who's lying to multiple people and they kind of team... We love to see it when the people team up. We have that kind of scenario now where what we're about to listen to is Brandon, I guess, getting information from Alana, and then Alana and Genevieve, again, from Alana's point of view, Alana and Genevieve trying to get information out of Serene. Again, I don't know if Serene and Genevieve are friends now, but it's absolutely wild to think some of this backstabbing is going on.
It's great that they're no longer on the show and that they can finally admit their feelings, and it's not wrong that she never liked Clayton and she always liked him.
These are the texts from Serene to the producer.
She was never in it for him. She was in it for my boyfriend. All that was in there. So coincidentally, this August 12th weekend, Genevieve happened to be with Serene on a trip. Now, I'm also texting Genevieve. She was the first person I reached out to. And her and I developed a kinship. It was almost like we were sister wives at that point. It's so funny because I would say Genevieve had a stronger relationship with my boyfriend than Serene did. So her and I, it almost felt like we were the girlfriends and Serene was the other woman. Like, this entire scenario is so beyond fucked up. And how this man was able to get, again,
I'd love to see that spinoff of Genevieve and Alana here. I mean,
fucking Scarlett Johansson, okay? I'm like bottom of the barrel here.
Stop it.
But these women are gorgeous. The fact that he was able to get these girls who can get any guy they want, it's so wrapped around his finger, and all of us in this fucking love square is beyond me.
All right. And again, I know, look, hey, yeah, there's guys that can just swing dick, you know what I mean? And I don't get it either. He was 6'4". There's something, once you're over 6'2", yeah, you get these issues. Find the Joey Graza days, right? He's 5'11" and he's a good lover. That's what you want in life.
The subtext of that text was, bitch, cut your shit. Stop playing games with me. Do not play games with me, bitch. Okay. All this happens. I talk to these people on the phone. We eventually are in a group chat. I'm thinking to myself, well, why would Serene tell me the truth? I wasn't really reading into anything that deeply outside of myself and what was going on, because it was so much at once to learn. And I felt very grateful that they felt comfortable enough to tell me their versions of the truth of what happened, because for so long I had so many questions and doubts and not trusting my gut. And I was just very grateful that they were sharing with me what they did, A part of me felt a need to protect them. Like I didn't want to throw them under the bus. So when I did eventually do my 2-part podcast going through the whole relationship, I didn't name them by name.
So yeah, when Alana, like I think on New Year's Day, she made this podcast and she wanted to protect these women because she knew how bad it would make them look. Now, in hindsight, months later, I think she realized that she felt kind of played by them as well.
As time went on, my perspective changed. Because I started thinking about it more and more and just how much time I'd spent with these girls and the shared trauma that people have on the show. Just the fact that they came back to him after we broke up and I really just started ruminating on all of that, which eventually led me to my New Year's episode where I just went the fuck off and said their names and said fuck all. Because I was like, fuck you. You did that. You made your choices. You knew how much it would hurt people doing that. Back to Serene more than anybody, because I think she is the most guiltiest of every single person who participated in this fucking mayhem. She is just as bad, besides the sexual assault allegations against my ex-boyfriend, which obviously I have to say are allegations and are allegedly because nothing has been proven in court. But, I've never come on this podcast and told a fucking lie. Besides those transgressions, I think she is just as fucking evil and manipulative as he is. I truly fucking feel that.
Wow.
So I posted that episode. This is so long ago. We're talking about last January. My life has moved on. Everyone's life has moved on. Who fucking cares anymore? Okay. After I posted that episode, I think Serene might have texted me and said, hey, call me. Genevieve called me. I never got back to them. I was like, it's done. Justice has been served. There's no need for us to ever have a dialogue. There is nothing in this world that would ever make me be friends with those people. The fact that you were capable of doing that at your ripe age to another individual is beyond disgusting to me. Beyond disgusting to me that you could do that. It's so hurtful and disrespectful. I can't. Here's the other thing. Now that I have hindsight, now that I can actually think about all these things, and I think back to the talks I had with Serene specifically, this bitch was trying to manipulate me into not saying her name. Whoa. And I fucking feel that so wholeheartedly.
And that makes sense. Why would Serene want her name being spoken? Now, obviously, especially if she looks bad here. Listen, we'll have to see if Serene responds to any of this, or if they're just going to hope, because what Alana's ex, I would think, is hoping for is that by not responding, this kind of just exists in the ecosystem and it doesn't have that big of an audience. I just find it interesting because it triangulates us closer to what the truth might be, which is that it was a pretty toxic relationship between Brandon and Serene.
I want to kind of put this all into perspective for you. There was this whole relationship with Brandon before Serene ever entered the chat that existed. It's so crazy to think about everything that happened. It doesn't even feel real anymore. So as a person who has at points in time had a close relationship with Brandon and Serene and everything that I know and how Brandon was during that time, who he was as a person, how he changed so much during the time he was with Serene, he was not himself. I really do think there are a lot of elements of truth. I really do think Serene probably has really fucking shitty videos of him, for sure. Absolutely. I also remember...
And this is why I don't think this is a slam piece where Alana's coordinating with Brandon. Alana says right here, she thinks that Serene's videos are really bad. Just like Serene's brother said, that they've got bad receipts.
During the time that Serene and I were talking, her telling me, with her own words, I might even have it in a fucking text. I probably do. That she could destroy Brandon very easily. I think she used that as blackmail for Brandon. I think she was very calculated in all of her moves with Brandon. I don't think she ever really wanted to be with Brandon. I think she did it specifically to have a public relationship in an effort to gain more followers and attention. That also made me think for a second that maybe this whole thing was like planned, that Brandon was going to come forward. But after talking to him, it's not that I'm trying to stick up for Brandon when I say this. I just think Brandon is way too naive and gullible and not, honestly, I don't think he's capable of manipulating.
There it is. Last clip.
And has very good intentions. Serene, no. I think she's protective of her image. And I think she has a lot of fucking skeletons in the closet.
Yikes. Listen, does this, change anyone's opinion of the relationship. It'll probably make you feel like, wow, we shouldn't have known about any of this in the first place. But what it does go to show is how sloppy and messy it can be when you've got a weird, sort of emotional cheating happening. Basically, Alana's describing Serene as emotionally cheating on Brandon. We didn't get into the thick of it. She's already discussed this, where she said, oh, Serene was sending Alana's ex, her boyfriend at the time, Serene was sending him photos of her at the gym or in a bikini, and what else might have gone down. It could have been just the tone of the friendship, which again, you got to change the tone of the friendship. If you're in a relationship, you would probably expect that when you're in a relationship, you don't send bikini photos to somebody else. I don't know what the kids do these days. Everyone's boundaries are different. But Brandon's side of the story is kind of like from obviously his own perspective, which is that he says they were never together when he danced with the person. And then Alana's side of the story is more so the inner workings of the collateral damage of Alana exposing her ex. The collateral damage being Genevieve and Serene. You got to listen to the full episode here, because the producer, Alana, discusses a moment where she was texting Serene a lot of this bombshell information, and at the same time, she was texting Genevieve. Serene and Genevieve were in the same room, and Genevieve was relaying to Alana what Serene was saying to her. So they were both feeling like they were getting two-timed at the same time and swapping notes. It's wild. Now, does stuff like this happen in the real world? Maybe. We just don't know about it. I mean, maybe in the real world, it's like, yeah, there's two timing happening, but the fact that it was going on with a producer, and look, you could say the producer's a drug addict, the producer's in the position of power, Serene and Genevieve are the ones being taken advantage of. I don't know. We just shared Alana's story. But if anyone argues, oh, you shouldn't be platforming the story of someone random, this is coming from the producer of the show. Absolutely wild stuff. I'm going to have updates from some of the questions I asked Alana that I don't have answers to yet on the afternoon rush hour. Just click that right there, scan that code with your camera, or just search Dave Neal on the podcast app or the rush hour with Dave Neal, and you'll get that. It's going to be a off the rails one. Again, go check out the whole episode, because I don't think our clips sort of do it justice. And I always say, listen to the source material. Wild stuff. Let me know what you think. We'll see if we get a reply from Serene. We'll see if she throws the nuclear codes out and blasts Brandon. I don't know if there's a winner in any of this. But I also think it's fair for Alana to share her truth, as everyone seems to be doing so. Let me know what you guys think. We'll be back with more content right after this.